I'm back, and we're going to take a look at a dual transmitter, single receiver lapel mic system from Comica, the CVM-WM300. Stay tuned. So we're going to take a look at this thing. By nature, I don't like lapel mics. They have their uses. I like them as secondary audio. I love overhead shotgun mics. I love omnidirectional mics. Lapel mics, I can never quite get the kind of sound out of them that I want to get. I can always post-process them, but especially for this type of stuff where you're doing a YouTube episode, I don't really want to spend hours post-processing my sound to try and get it right. I want good, clean sound. I want to add maybe some compression, maybe some depth to the thing, and I'm done and I'm out. I want to see if this thing's going to fit the bill. I haven't even listened to this yet. A couple of things I want to check. I have my phone here. First thing I want to check, I have it running. It's got the Bluetooth on. It's got the Wi-Fi on. It's doing a bunch of things. I want to run this around and see if the phone's going to actually interfere, because this is supposed to be shielded, all this stuff. So let's check it out. I'm running it around the microphone area. Now between that receiver and this transmitter, about 2 to 3 inches away from the antenna and the transmitter, and then between the two, if I get any type of interference or bleep, 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 or whatever, we're going to pick it up and we're going to see in a moment what's happening. The thing you really want to know is, how does this thing work? I'm using it right now. I have done nothing to the sound. I have not post-processed it, except I've sent it to -19 LUFS. I'll explain what that is, and I think it's over here or over there or something like that. And it's basically LUFS -19 for a mono channel, which is how I record. It sets a level standard for things like YouTube. So when you're watching my video and you're listening to it, and you go to someone else's video and listen to it, you don't have to turn up the volume, or you don't have to turn down the volume, or you don't get your ears blown out. And that's why that's a standard. So take note, all you loud volume beasts. You need to fix your sound and level it. These antennas are very flexible, very sturdy, and they're not going to break off. Hopefully, as you saw in the phone test, the antennas and the cords have excellent shielding, which means they're going to experience little or no interference. Some people have a problem with the antennas. I don't. When you're on a set, the unit is clipped to the back of the person on a belt or a skirt hem and are never in the scene anyway. These are not going to break. They are quite bendable, so a plus on the antenna. This thing gives you a lot more distance, and I actually like having the antennas a lot more than not. For example, if you use the Rode wireless mic, the most you will get out of it is somewhere under 100 meters, and the unit is plastic. Although this unit is a bit more expensive than the Rode wireless, remember you are getting 2 transmitters and a receiver and an all-metal build that won't break. All of these are very sturdy. They're tough. They're metal. The back's metal, everything's metal, except for the antennas. Very sturdy, very nice. Also a reset on the bottom of the unit if you need it. I'm very much impressed with the quality of the build. Recharging these are a snap. I have here a Sony NPF 970. It's a special battery. It's not much, it's like 30 bucks as opposed to the Sony $120. It contains outputs and inputs and a USB port to where I can just stick one end of the supplied cord in the USB port on the battery, the other end into one of the transmitters or the one receiver, and this thing will charge up. The power is very low consumption and it has a super long standby time. I don't know how long the battery will last. I've been told from various research, I haven't tested it, that it can last up to 8 to 12 hours, and that is amazing. Hooking this to your camera is quite easy using the supplied shoe mount. You mount the transmitter on top, plug in the supplied cable, turn your camera around, then just insert the other end of the cable in your camera and you're good to go. I love that there's a headphone jack on the receiver. All you do is just plug your 3.5mm jack into the headphone jack on the receiver, and you get to hear the raw sound in the receiver before it hits the camera and any processing is done. A real plus. They also include a 3.5mm to XLR jack. So for instance, if you wanted to hook the receiver up to something like the Zoom H4n or a Zoom H5 or a Tascam, you simply plug in one end of the plug into the receiver output and then just jack in with your XLR jack to your recorder, and you've got clean sound. And it comes with a padded case. I am just really impressed. Everything fits nicely in the case. It's easily transportable, and it even has a rim around the case to keep it waterproof. This is a really nice touch. You can put the receiver on top of a camera or anywhere really. You can attach this cold shoe mount to the back of any of these units and just mount it on top of your camera. All three units have a mini USB power jack at the bottom. Receiver is laid out really nice with power buttons, set buttons, and up and down buttons, a great LCD in the antennas. The two included lapel mics are really great. It has this nice screw-on connector, which is awesome. The lapel mic itself has a nice clip, shielded cable. The top has a foam cover over it, and if you don't like the foam cover, you can always take it off, like these lapel mics. It also comes with a furry wind cover. You wouldn't normally use this, but if you're outside and it's really windy, there's no reason why you wouldn't put one of these furry covers on here to use it outside and not have to deal with the windy bad sound. Mounting this on the camera is really simple with the cold shoe mount. Just slide it right on and you're ready to go. You can certainly get into the menu system and set all the different channels and what they're running on. What I appreciate is a simple on for the receiver, an on for the one transmitter, and on for the other transmitter. They sync up wonderfully fast and they're ready to go. Powering the unit on is quite simple. You hold down the button for about a second and it powers on. Turning it off is simply holding down the button for a second and it will power down. It comes supplied with a manual, two transmitters, the receiver, two lapel mics, a 3.5mm to XLR jack cable, which I really appreciate, a 3.5mm jack to go into your camera, two charging cords, three cold shoe mounts, and two furry wind covers for when you're outside. All three have a simple, very sturdy wire to hook onto the talent, the director, wherever you want to hook it. They also have the screws on the back, unlike many that don't, where you can hook a cold shoe mount or mount it onto any type of 1/4mm thing. This is really handy and I really appreciate all the different ways you can mount this. Now here's a really interesting feature, and if this works, it'll be awesome. I am currently running, you can just jack right into your smart device or your iPhone. On this I have an iPhone 8 with their silly adapter headphone thing. We won't go into that. And I have these two transmitters running into the receiver, and the receiver running directly into the iPhone. Just as you would plug it into your camera, you just plug it into your phone. I don't know if other wireless systems do this. I don't think they do, but that's pretty cool, and I want to check out the sound later. This is the other lapel mic, just to prove that we're recording two things at the same time. There's transmitter 1. There's transmitter 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Normally we'd probably put these down here. I just wanted to test it. I haven't set up the levels and made sure that everything's recording correctly in here. But if this works and it sounds good in a pinch, this is one really cool, awesome feature. If you're sitting there with your kit and you're like, I forgot my recorder, oh my gosh, whatever, this is awesome. Just a note about these lapel mics. You'll see in different shows, films, on TV shows and stuff, you're not sitting here holding this. Just because it's a lapel mic doesn't mean it has to be by your lapel. Obviously, the closest to your mouth, the better. Now, I'm not going to sit here and adjust the different volume levels for this, but you can put it here. You can also put it right here in the middle of your chest. Some do it upside down. You'll see some shows where they do it upside down. The key to using these is getting the input level right, about -12 on your meters up and down, and then you test. Here's another thing to take into account when using these lapel mics. This gets up to 100 and I believe it's 20 meters away, and that's something like 300, almost 400 feet, which is a lot of yards. I mean, it's way more than the football field. Normally, you're not going to be shooting a football field away. I'm just saying, you're normally not going to be shooting a football field away unless you're filming someone and there's a drone coming in, but the receiver isn't mounted on the drone, or I hope it isn't. So usually it's not that far away. So 120 meters is a lot in an open area. Now in an enclosed area, it gets about 80 meters, which is really sufficient. I went out and did a test and just started walking, and it was kind of boring. Because when you get that far away, it doesn't matter, but I can tell you it works. For instance, I am sitting here right now in a studio. I have stairs down there. I have metal things. I have walls. I'll just do it inside. Note, as I do this inside and I walk around the house and I go outside and stuff like that, there's a lot of things going on. And again, you wouldn't normally film someone or something not on camera walking around doing something someplace else while the camera's running. I'm just saying. That might be helpful. Now in a large room, let's say you're using these to deliver something to a fundraising audience or a church audience, and you have very large spaces, 120 meters is plenty, especially if you're filming them. Let me go take a walk and see how far we get with this before it loses it. You're just going to have to watch a big pile of nothing on the screen while I do this. I'm currently walking down the stairs. We already have many walls, many metal surfaces, many things happening, electrical wires. I'm in a room here. I'm continuing to walk through the room. Here's the stand with the coffee maker, which I really want to do. I'm walking here. I'm walking outside. I'm in the garage, the car parking area, and I'm just walking around. There's going to be a lot of interference, a lot of things going on. I am easily, I don't know, it's got to be 30 yards, 40 yards away, coming back into the studio. Walking along, I went quite a bit of ways. I walk fast, walking by the coffee maker and eyeballing it. There's Filmmaker sitting by a fireplace we have in here. Coming back up the stairs, continuing along, coming to the top of the stairs, coming into the studio, and I'm back. Now, the only time I did notice interference with these, and I couldn't recreate it, was I had a phone going, Wi-Fi going, Bluetooth going, an iPad going, Wi-Fi going. I had a computer right here with its fans and things like that. It had Wi-Fi and Bluetooth going, and there was, for a moment, I'd say about maybe 10 or 20 seconds, it almost sounded like it lost the channel or something. I'm okay with that. If I'm sitting here filming with an on computer and an on phone and everything else, I mean, come on. Usually when you're filming with a computer on a set, or you're filming the talent with a computer going, you're not going to run the computer with all the fans running and stuff going on, because they're just going to pretend. Anyway, there's some more tests for you, and let's move on. I'm really impressed with this unit. I'm really considering, after I listen to the sound and see what happens, I'm really considering just going to the lapel mic setup for my YouTube videos if it works out. I love my shotgun, my Rode NTG3. I've had it for years. I've never got any better sound. But it does come with pain points. I have to have a boom stand. I have to have it over my head. I have to have an XLR jack and a cable running over to my recorder. And that's fine if that's when I need to get sound, but I would much rather be mobile and be able to move around, be able to turn around and do things without having to worry about the mic overhead pointing at me and I lose my sound. Being able to be mobile and move around to me would be awesome, because then I could go outside and do various things and you wouldn't have to sit here and just look at my mug the whole time. Anyway, that's about it. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Happy New Year and welcome to 2018. Why I'm talking while I'm holding this up for this long is of no consequence, so I will just stop talking while holding this up and we'll just end, and we'll just do a nice fade to black. Here we go. I hope it's fading. Is it fading to black? I'm hoping it's fading to black. You know, while I'm in here, it's not really fading to black. But in post, it's fading to black. At this point, everything's black and I'm still talking, and you're wondering why I'm still talking. So let me just say this.